Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the college football fans that are out there. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based here in Austin, Texas. We are using a technology platform to help student athletes and amateur athletes tell their story, why they do what they do, why they do it so well, and how they plan to use their sport and their talent for life when that sport is over. We are excited tonight. We've got somebody that I've known since middle school who's really become a future star in the college football space. If you watch any college football, you know his name. But I'm here with K-State running back Chris Deuce Vaughn. He's a running back at K-State University, Kansas State. He attended Cedar Ridge High School right here in Round Rock. He's 5'5", 170 pounds. We'll get into that later. But Deuce had a tremendous freshman year, Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. He was a freshman All-American. He was a 24/7 Sports True Freshman of the Year. You can see his timeline there, his Twitter name. Deuce, hey, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me.
No, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day away from your family to give us a little time and give back. I mean, I've told you about some stories that kids who are a little undersized have used your name as, hey, that's the guy I'm trying to be like. I'm a little undersized, but I can play this game. And so I'm really interested in having you tell your story. I know it, but I want the world to know it. I want it to help other student athletes who may not be a 6 foot, 200 pound running back, and how they can still make an impact on their team as a freshman. So let's just jump right into it. Deuce, the one thing, I look at your stats from last year, and I've told you when you and I talked about the season, the thing I like the most, I mean, they weren't great stats, but for a true freshman who came in to a situation, having 642 yards rushing, averaging 5.2 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns, and my favorite stat, 0 fumbles. Tell us how that transition from playing at a top 6A high school here in Texas to going to K-State, how that helped you be so successful your freshman year.
I mean, really the biggest, help when playing 6A big time football was you're seeing kids that are going on to play D1 football every single Friday as well. So, of course, the game was faster. Dudes were bigger and everything like that. You had to put more time into film, put more time into your nutrition and how you work throughout the week whenever you got to that next level. But the 6A football, just the aspect of everything. I mean, the big time games, having 5,000 or 10,000 people at your game, and that environment when you're at a away game and things like that, and then just the overall talent level whenever you're still in high school. I mean, every single week you're battling against, kids that are going to go and play at the same division level as you whenever y'all both go to the next level was the biggest thing for me. It kind of eased the process of going into college a little bit, even though, because every single week you're seeing somebody that was going to be playing at West Virginia, or he was going to be playing at a Baylor or a Texas, or he was going somewhere like a UTSA. So like these players are all great players, and the talent level wasn't a huge gap to the point where you had to fight and you had to work every single week in high school to really carry it over to college.
Dudes, we talked about before we came on live in the recording here, but every senior in high school who's being recruited and has offers or is committed talks about that next goal was, I want to play as a freshman. Talk about how I know you personally that you didn't really make that a goal. You were willing to do whatever it took to help out the K-State program. But talk about that. So share with some of these high school student athletes what you did to put yourself in a position to then play and produce as a true freshman.
Absolutely. The first thing that I did is I knew that the knowledge that I had for the game was going to have to be my asset. Getting into the playbook every single day and making sure that I was learning it was going to have to be an asset. I told myself, hey, if I'm able to get the playbook into my hands whenever I sign my letter of intent in February, or now we're doing it in December, whenever I get that sign that letter of intent, hey, as soon as I get that, I'm going right into the playbook. Because as soon as I can learn the formations, the plays, and everything like that, it'll give me a chance to get onto the field and then let my talent and my abilities and my work that I put in take care of everything else. Because the first thing that you need to do is gain the trust from your coaches, and that's through your playbook. They're not going to put anybody in the game that doesn't know what they're doing on a play-to-play basis, and that's what my coach told me, and I took that to heart. He was like, the first thing you need to do is learn your playbook. So every single day, whether I had a busy day and I can only get 15 minutes in a film, that's what I was doing. If I had a very not busy day, 2 hours, I was on my iPad just going through I was writing stuff down. And that's one thing I'll tell a lot of younger guys is use your hands, write your stuff down. Because that's exactly what I did. I'd write it down 3 times so that I could remember it. I write it down 3 times, look at it, write it down over and over again. Just get that memory of just writing it down and making sure that you see it over and over. And before you know it, your brain will start to process it. And then whenever it's time to go play, I mean, it's kind of like muscle memory.
Deuce, you bring up a good point. I think a lot of student athletes and parents think that I got to get bigger, I got to get stronger, I got to get faster if I want to play as a freshman. And the first thing you just mentioned is the mental part of the game, studying film, knowing formations, knowing plays. It talks about something that you and me and your dad have talked about a lot, that in order to play, you got to build trust with your teammates. And your coaches have to trust you that if I put you in the game, you're not going to screw up and miss a block and get my quarterback blown up or get a receiver blown up. I mean, talk about the differences between the physical preparation, because I know how hard you work to get ready for freshman year, but the mental is just as important. Talk about that a little bit.
The mental is just as important because if you're going to any college of just football at the next level, D1, D2, wherever that respective place may be, they're going to have strength and conditioning coaches. They're going to have your coaches. You're going to have everybody that's going to be there to help you prepare physically. So they're going to help you take care of that. Now, as far as position meetings and things like that go, you'll have that time allotted at the facility. But what you do outside of the facility is going to put you and propel you into that spot that you want to be in. You want to play early. So I knew that, okay, whenever I get up to campus, I knew that the strength and conditioning staff is going to get me right. They're going to help me, and the nutrition staff is going to help me put my body in the best shape to go and play on Saturday. But I knew that it was on me to be able to take that mental side and say, hey, if I want to get onto the field, I have to know what I'm doing. And I mean, the strength and conditioning staff is not going to be there babying you. The coaches aren't going to be there babying you, say, hey, man, make sure you're on the film. Make sure you're in the film. You take that upon yourself because at some point you have to be like, hey, I really want this. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I get it. And I mean, really, that's what it came down to, because I understood that the mental side of the game is going to get you onto the field. The physical part, all your talent and your hard work is going to take over once you get there. But if you don't know what you're doing or where you're going out there, they're not going to put you on the field because they have to trust you.
Yeah, absolutely. Deuce, you kind of talked about it earlier, but you're kind of become a poster child to a lot of these undersized running backs and slot receivers who saw your height and weight and saw you still making big time plays in college. Talk about, because I've known you, I've seen you play since you're in middle school and coming to FU camps and not letting your size be a hindrance and just going, hey, I'm just a playmaker. Talk about to those kids who are a little undersized, you're not that 6 foot or 5'10" running back. You never use it as an excuse. You just kept working. What would you tell that next generation of undersized offensive athletes what they need to do if they also want to follow your footsteps and be successful if they never go another inch?
Absolutely. The first and foremost thing that I would tell them is that you're gonna have to block out the noise. There's gonna be a lot of noise as far as your recruiting process and talking to coaches and people like that will say, hey man, I mean, I've been pulled to the side many times and said, I mean, we love your film, we love how you play, but I mean, we're just gonna have to go in the opposite direction because of your height and your weight. And you take that on the chin and you say, I'm just gonna keep working harder. That's the biggest thing, is you're gonna have to keep working harder. No matter who tells you anything, you have to have belief in yourself and your abilities that you can do what you want to do at the next level. And I mean, I took that to heart every single day. When I woke up and my feet hit the ground, I was like, well, I'm going to do everything in my power today to give myself a chance to be able to defeat the odds, in a sense, as people would say. I mean, because there's not a lot of 5'5", 170 pound players out in the D1 level. For instance, to defeat the odds, be the outlier is what I said. Be the outlier, and to be that outlier, you have to put in a lot of work because people are going to overlook you just because of your height. So you have to work harder to get into their eyes, and then show them that you have the talent and the ability to go and play at a very, very high level. And really, I mean, just play with a chip on your shoulder, work with a chip on your shoulder, whether that's in the weight room, the classroom, or on the field. You have to play and work with a chip on your shoulder because, I mean, you have a chip on your shoulder. And that's what I've always kept with myself as well.
Deuce, you have a uncanny ability and talent. And people don't think about this all the time. We're all focused on the 40 and huddle video and what do you bench and what do you squat. But the thing I know I talked to your mom and dad a lot about is that you don't take big hits. It's something we talked about with the Russell Wilson. Not real fast, not real big, but Russell, you never see a highlight of Russell Wilson getting crushed. And whatever that knack or that talent or ability is, you seem to also understand, hey, I'm not 5'10", 190 pounds yet. You don't take big. Talk about, is that something you actually work on, that you know how to kind of roll with some of these guys who are hitting you that are twice your size? How do you handle making sure that you're not taking these big, tremendous hits from big linebackers and linemen?
It's weird. I get asked this a whole bunch. I mean, it's kind of like an instinct in a sense. I can't really explain it. But working on it is just staying nimble, staying agile. Flexibility is a big thing as well, especially whenever you're taking hits. If you're flexible enough to, there's a certain way that you can roll whenever you get hit on the ground to stay off your shoulders, stay off your knees, and things like that. So you're not taking big uh, pressure on your elbows or knees and your shoulders so that you're able to stay uh, injury free and things like that. But I mean, it's kind of like a sense whenever you're running, if you're going through a hole and you're able to kind of contort your body to take a hit or kind of absorb it in a sense from a bigger guy. And sometimes you're able to use it against them when you absorb it, use your balance to stay up. And then before you know, they bounce off because they just exerted all their force into you, and you kind of absorb it and kind of roll with it in a sense where if he's hitting you from the left, you kind of take it and kind of stumble to the right, but stay up. He's
Mhm.
on the ground, but you're still up because you absorbed that hit. I mean, it's crazy because my head's kind of always on a swivel. Um, and one thing I will tell people is that whenever you come up to the line, if you're playing running back or wide receiver, is if you're getting the ball, make sure you take a snapshot of the defenders and what where they're lined up at, because you'll understand better where they're coming from in a
Mhm.
sense. So I mean, if there's one high safety, hey, if I break through the second level, there's gonna be one high safety instead of two, so I can manipulate where he's going, make a move off of him, or I know where he's coming from. If I make a move and I'm stumbling, and I know where he's coming from, he was over to the left, so you're gonna come to my left in a sense. Be able to kind of keep that in your head to give yourself a better chance when you're going up against 11 guys.
No, that's a great piece of feedback for these up and coming players. Vision and taking a snapshot. I love the way you explained that. I think that's something that a lot of high school players can definitely use to make them better high school players, and definitely in that transition to college. Hey, let's switch it up a little bit. I want to hear more about your story. I know that people don't know. You know, you're the son of a father who's a former athlete and a current coach and scout for an NFL team here in Texas. Tell us your story. Why? I mean, you would think, hey, yeah, I play football because my dad played football, but some kids don't do that. What's your story? Why do you love playing football? Why is it your passion?
Really, I mean, ever since I was could walk, I had a football in my hand. I've been around the game for so long that I mean, it's I kind of fell in love with it from the beginning. Whether that was going to one of my dad's games that he was coaching in, I mean, I was mesmerized by seeing these players and the things that they were doing with their talents and their abilities that I mean, nobody else can do. And I just remember I would sit there mesmerized. I'd watch videos, just mesmerized by these players, these men that were doing these things that like I told myself like I want to do that when I grow up. Like, that's what I want to do. I made my decision right then, right there. That's what I want to do. And then as I got older, it was kind of like a thing where it was like playing football was exhilarating. It was something that like I look forward to doing every day. I woke up in the morning, I was like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get to play football today? Whether I had class and I had everything, like how am I gonna get to touch a football today? How am I gonna get to do that? I mean, every single day that love for it grows. Like today, I mean, I just came from the field, was catching balls today, running routes. I mean, every single day I'm trying to get my hands on a football. I mean, just the love for it grows every single day. And I mean, I couldn't really even put it into words where it came from, but it did. And I'm so glad that it did because this game has changed my life in so many ways. And it's given me so many platforms and it's given me so many life lessons and everything like that. So, I mean, I want to hold on to this for as long as I can.
Well, Deuce, I know we're all proud of you, the kind of student athlete that you were in high school, but then you go to college. K-State's no cakewalk. It's a strong academic school also. Talk about that transition of being a really good academic student at Cedar Ridge and then getting to K-State and keeping that going, and the differences between a high school education and a college degree. Talk a little bit to these athletes about that transition.
Absolutely. It gets real, is what I'll tell them before you know it. I mean, I got to K State. I was taking 15 credit hours in my first year, and then having to balance that with having games on Saturdays, leaving on Friday to go to the hotel, missing class on Friday because you had to go on an away game and things like that. I will tell you that responsibility and making sure that you're on your P's and Q's is going to be the biggest thing from the transition from high school to college. Because high school, of course, uh, you go to classes, you're right there in the building, all your classes are right there. You take it, you get done, you go to practice, or you have practice before. Well, now when you get to college, I mean, your classes are split up everywhere. You may have a 6 a.m. lift, and then you have class at 8 a.m. Well, you only got an hour to get ready for it. It's 8 a.m. You just had a lift, tired, you're sitting in class, and you have to make sure that you're focused and taking notes and everything like that. And then you leave there, go back to the facility for film, and then before you know it, you have another class at 11, and then you have a class at 2, and then you have practice, and then you have tutoring, and then you have, I mean, so finding that healthy medium of, okay, I'm gonna plan everything out. These are what I have going on at these times. This is what downtime I have. I'm gonna put some time into film for this time, put some time into studying and homework and things like that, and then just making sure that you're on your P's and Q's for classwork and making sure that, I mean, hey, I had a test today, so make sure you're on time for that because sometimes your tests are at different times in your class because it'll be a lab in a sense, and just making sure that that responsibility is going to be heightened because your parents aren't there either. It's all on you. Making sure that you get to a great point where you can say, hey, like, I know what I'm doing today. That's why I got to writing everything down. I wrote everything down, whether that be in my phone or on like a little notepad. I wrote everything down so I wouldn't forget and I'd be there on time and I had everything in a straight line. That gave me great success.
You know, you did a great job outlining it. I always tell student athletes, you want to be successful in the college level, it's all about time management. Some of you high school players that are out there, one thing you haven't heard Deuce talk about is, oh yeah, I go to practice and I go hang out in the student union. Or I go to practice, oh yeah, there's gonna be a party in the dorm. There's none of that. I've just told athletes, I was at a camp in Vegas, as the higher levels you go, football becomes less fun and more work. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a job. I mean, and my first fall camp told me that immediately. I mean, you're up at 6 a.m. and your head's hitting the pillow at 10 p.m. And between that time was all football. So that love for the game is gonna have to heighten because you're gonna have to sacrifice so many things to be successful at the sport. And that's why a lot of kids don't make it, or why kids propel themselves over other ones because they're willing to sacrifice for things that they want. I'd proudly say that I've sacrificed a lot of things to be in the position that I am today. And I do it all over again. I'll keep on doing it. It's going to give me the same success and give me the ability to have that same success.
And Deuce, you and I talked about this before many times at other showcases and whatnot, but I think the experience you're going through, you kind of see it now a little bit differently, that what you're doing now in time management and writing things down, those things are going to help you be successful when football's over and you start your own job, your own career, your own business. Talk about how the life skills that you're learning by aligning your time and making sure that you're prioritized and focused on your different tasks each day as a student athlete.
Right. I mean, and you really don't even notice it before you get to a point where you're like, oh man, I've created so many habits through being a student athlete that's going to help me after the game, like time management, being able to get up early in the morning and still be proficient with what you're doing, or having long days and being able to stay efficient with everything that you're doing. And just everything that, I mean, a student athlete embodies is going to help me and all the other student athletes that are taking advantage of this opportunity and this time that we have as a student athlete after football. And I mean, that's so thankful. I'm so thankful for that because it's taught me so many lessons about life that, I mean, if you don't go back and reflect, I mean, you could miss. But I mean, it's really big time.
Well, so let's keep it real, Deuce. And another thing, I always like talking about real talk. I mean, we talked about academics, we talked about the transition, we talked about playing in the Big 12. Let's talk about some of the distractions. Tell us some of the things you've learned that you kind of like, ooh, I didn't expect that. Maybe it was, being more popular on campus, or the upperclassmen realizing, hey, this kid's going to help us win, and how there may have been an issue with other incoming freshmen who didn't have success. Tell us about some of those outside distractions that even took you by surprise in your first year at K-State.
Um, the biggest thing for me, I would say, was not really a distraction, but it's something that I had to step up and kind of teach myself in a sense to do, and that was being a leader. Of course, I had pretty good success early on in the season, and coaches came to me and they were like, "We want you to be a better leader, even though you're a freshman on the team." And I found myself in situations where, I mean, I'm 18 years old, and there may be people that are 2, 3, 4 years older than me that, I mean, I have to lead in a
Yeah.
sense, and it comes with the success that you have on the field and that respect earned from your teammates. And I mean, that was not really, it wasn't a distraction. It was something that I had to learn to do, and something that it was, I'm very thankful for as well, because it's helped me become a better player and a better teammate for K-State. And I'm still learning, which is, I'm still learning as we talk right now. Whenever I go back from the summer, I'll be able to continue to take growth and strides in that. And then as far as distractions go, I mean, as soon as you leave the facility, the distractions are there. You're on a college campus. You go to class, and there are people that notice you and say, "Hey, man, we got something going on tonight. Like, you should come out." Blah blah blah. But you know you have film that you need to watch to get ready for
Yeah.
that Saturday night game, and you say no, and they kind of look at you like, "Come on, man." And you understand that. I mean, you're fighting for a bigger purpose than that night would give you. And really, just, I wouldn't say that it's a distraction, but it's definitely going to be there to take away from your time that you need to allot to the game of football and the success that you want to have. And I learned that pretty quickly, because, I mean, I've had friends and people like that that fell into those going out at night and things like that. And whenever we had a 6 a.m. run, and then paying the price for it, just, and that's when the comes in. You kind of say, "Hey, man, like, I mean, you're not Superman. You know, you gotta sacrifice some things so that we can all be successful here. You can help the team, and really, I mean, just kind of helping everybody else and kids that may not get it, just helping with that as well."
Yeah, I think you sum it up perfectly. I always tell kids, don't let your day-to-day decisions and actions affect your long-term goals. And I think that's something that I think every student athlete struggles with daily, whether it's with hanging out with his boys or meeting some girl on campus or heading to a frat party, whatever. And so I think you nailed that as far as response. I appreciate that realness, because that's something that a lot of athletes don't know about because they never experienced. A lot of people don't talk about it. All they see is you play on Saturday and you stay at this hotel and you're wearing all this Nike or Adidas gear, and they forget those little things that happen between Monday and Friday, and then on Sunday, that could be, I don't say distraction, like you said, but more of something that could keep you knock you off your focus. And so I think you're handling that very well. The one thing that people asked me who knew that I knew you and said, "Hey, are you surprised at Deuce's success as a freshman at K State?" I told them no, because literally you did the same thing as a freshman at Cedar Ridge. Tell us about how you just put your head down and grind, making plays. I mean, you made an impact your freshman year in high school. You made an impact your freshman year in college. My prayer is you'll make an impact as a rookie in the NFL. But tell us, is that something you focus on, or does it just happen because of your hard work? It's a payoff of your hard work.
I'd say it just happens, because I came into Kansas State, and the thing I told myself is, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to work, and whatever role that I'm granted on the team, I'm going to do that to my best ability, 100% every single day, to help my team win. And whatever that was, I was willing to do that. And so, I mean, throughout the summer and even back to the winter of my senior year, I was preparing myself to play football for Kansas State, whether that be on special teams or on offense or coming off the bench or starting. When he came, I mean, I just took it and I ran with it, because all that preparation that I had, all that time I allotted into getting ready, it all just kind of oozed out in a sense. And I mean, I was just playing football during fall camp and not thinking about anything. Because I came in, I was like, man, I know the playbook. I know what I'm doing. The coaches are telling me they have faith in me, and they're giving me the football. And now you just go play football. You're doing what you've been doing your entire life. And whenever that came, I mean, you barely even had to think in a sense, because you were just going. It was all just muscle memory from all the years that you've played. And then, I mean, it's so much fun because you're not having to worry about, oh man, what am I doing on this play, and like where am I lining up. They say it, you're like, all right, let's go. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go. If I'm blocking, let's go. If I'm receiving, let's go. If I'm running, let's go. And that was even throughout the season, I was even still learning, which was really good. So by the time we got to the end of the season, I mean, I was like, I went to bed on Friday, like I put my iPad down, I put my plays and everything down, and I went to bed and I was like, all right, let's just envision making some plays tomorrow. Woke up, didn't have to look at anything else because I was good to go. I put in so much work from Monday through Friday that I would woke up on Saturday. Let's go. Let's put the pads on. Let's go play football. That's really the biggest thing. Is the preparation is going to be so big to having that confidence to go out and do what you believe you can do, like in yourself.
Yeah. Deuce, one of the things I love so much about your game is, you show that maturity. I remember being in the living room, Val and I watching your first game, you scoring your first touchdown, and we're screaming, going crazy. I know your parents were, but I watched you and how you responded, and you are the epitome of what I tell kids: act like you've been there before. You scored a lot of touchdowns in high school, but tell us, what was that experience like scoring your first college touchdown? How are you feeling at that point?
It was an absolute rush, in the sense that I wasn't really thinking about that I scored my first touch, and I was thinking about I'm helping my team, like
Yeah.
in this game. In a sense, I put my head down, I got in, and then I got up, and I was like, I just scored my first touchdown. It was like an overwhelming like
Yeah.
rush and everything, but I was like, we still got a job to do though. Like I think it was the second quarter. It's like, man, we got a job. We got 2.5 more quarters to go. Like,
Right.
hey, after this, hey, boom, Ray, this play's done. We're on to the next one. And that was the biggest thing for me, is just making sure that, I mean, you sat there and you lived the moment, because I mean it's big time. I mean, first college touchdown, in your first college game is big time. But then you understand, hey, the mission's not over. We got to keep pounding the stone.
Well, and we follow each other on Twitter, and I'm just going to use this point to kind of shout out there. I know you play juice football, 7-on-7 with all the guys, with Sean and all them. I noticed, and I want the players to hear this from you. You didn't celebrate your touchdown by doing backflips. You didn't sprint away from your teammates and go do something crazy. You celebrated with your linemen. You handed the ball to the referee. You acted like you've been there before. Give these high school prospects an idea that when you get to college, you ain't celebrating like that. You've been able to celebrate with your teammates, get back to the sidelines, because you got to do it again. Like you said, you scored in the second quarter. I think in that first game, you guys were still down in the game. You still got work to do. Talk about how you show maturity and celebrate with your teammates over the, hey, look at me attitude of what I just did.
Right. The biggest thing there is, I mean, yeah, exactly how you just explained it. It's not about you at
Right.
that point in time. It's about the team. It's about that, especially whenever you get to college, because I'm out there wearing the power cap. Of course, you have your name on the back of your jersey, but you were out there, you wearing the power cap. You have the 22 on. You representing your school, your institution. So whenever you do make a touchdown like that, you have to understand there's 10 other guys in the field that
Right.
helped. It wasn't you that, hey, I blocked for myself. I caught the ball. I threw the ball. It's 10 other guys out there that, so as soon as I get into the end zone, I turn around. That's what I do. I get into the end zone, I turn around.
Yeah.
There's 10 other guys coming. Hey, like, come on, like, y'all got it. Y'all get in here too. Y'all got me in here.
Right.
We all do it together in a sense. And I mean, that's the biggest thing, because at Kansas State, we all do that. Everybody kind of, man, K-State, I mean, they don't really celebrate. I mean, we're celebrating. We're what our dudes. We're hugging each other. We're all jumping around together. That's the thing. I mean, it's not flashy. It's not a wower. Like, trust me, it goes for team success and team like togetherness. I mean, it goes a long way. And I mean, that's something that I love about my team.
Love it, man. Hey, as we finish up here, one of the things I'm passionate about, as you know, is talking about life after football. I mean, I was just had your mom and dad were here a couple of days ago for a birthday party for Val, and we started talking about, after this year, from our experience with Aaron at Texas, things start to speed up. I know you're only going to your sophomore year, but it goes by fast. Give these fans, for the K-State fans and all your fans, what do you have planned for yourself after football, whatever that is, whether it's after college or after a long NFL career? What does Deuce Vaughn want to do when the game is done with him or he's done with the game?
Absolutely. And I tell a lot of people this. My biggest dream outside of playing football in the NFL is representing players in the NFL.
Okay.
So becoming a sports agent,
Nice.
agent entrepreneurship, so I can open up my own sports agency one day.
I love it.
Going into contract law and everything like that, and making sure that I'm building relationships with players that I'm playing with right now. Say Bijan Robinson at Texas, or Brees Hall. That, I mean, hey, if I can't go play with the best, why not represent them? And I mean, I got an internship with a sports agency this summer, so I'm gonna get to go and see exactly what it's like to be in the shoes of a sports agent and see, I mean, what all the hype is about. Because I mean, I've seen it from the outside looking in. I'm like, that's what I want to do. So being able to have that internship in the summer is going to be big. Just be able to see if this is really what I want to do, and I feel like it is going to be that. I'm super excited for that. That's exactly what I want to do after football.
Love it. Got a plan, going to execute on it. That's awesome. Hey, last question, and we'll let you get back to your night here, and I really appreciate your time. We talked about giving back, and obviously every football player loves playing in front of a large crowd, big fans, people, celebrating the mascot or whatever, but giving back is important. I know you were raised that way, to give back to people that support you. Tell us, I know you visit some of the middle school here, Ridgeview here locally, but what are you doing up in Manhattan? What are you doing to give back to all those Wildcat fans up in that area?
One thing that I'll say about our department up at Kansas State in that building is they're always giving us community service opportunities, and I'm so thankful for that. Because I mean, every single time I look down at my phone or we have our teamworks, it's like community service opportunity. I'm every single time that I see it, I'm trying to get into it. If I have something going on, I'm aiming, I'll get the next one. But just making sure that I'm helping out. Like just my last one on Earth Day, we went out to the park, cleaned it up. We helped them put down some mulch and everything like that. And I mean, that's just big time because giving back to the community is so huge, especially with the platform that we have and the amount of players that we have as well. I mean, that's the strength in numbers to help out around the community is big time because these people coming out every Saturday and watching us play and supporting us, so we want to support them for supporting us. And I'm so thankful for them. So I have to give back, and I love to do it, and love to see the smile on people's faces whenever we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. You played last year. Obviously, we were going through a pandemic and partial crowds and just all the process way to go through. Tell me how much you're looking forward to this year, where we kind of get back to regular football, packed house in Manhattan, maybe not masks and stuff. I mean, your sophomore year is going to be vastly different from your freshman year. Tell us about how excited you are about your sophomore year and what your goals are this year as a Wildcat.
I'm super, super excited because I was just talking to my mom about this. And I mean, we went to the official visit against Baylor. And I mean, just walking into the stadium, I mean, it was pretty close to sold out. I believe it was probably sold out. And I mean, just the fans, the energy. I mean, I was like, this is the place that I want to play football. Like this is what's up. And I was standing there, I was on the field, I was looking. Players ran out, and I mean, just the roars and how they were cheering and just the support. And I was like, man, like I missed that my freshman year, of course, because of COVID and everything, but getting back to kind of a normalcy this fall is going to be pretty exciting because I know that people bleed purple up in Manhattan. They're going to be there and put in the work during the summer to give them a show and just go ahead and do everything we can to win some football games. And that's the plan. And then as far as goals go, I mean, I'm not really one to put down statistical goals. I know people love to hear, man, you want to rush for 1,000 yards, and I was like, man, if I rush for 20 yards and 20 receiving yards and we win the football game, I'm the happiest. I'm the happiest player on the field. As long as we get that W and I'm helping contribute, I'm super happy, man, and because that's what it's all about. It's about Kansas State, but just the goals is for myself, not necessarily statistical wise, I'd be just improve my mental game. I mean, because that's one thing that can always grow and give you better ability to have success in the field. So just growing my mental game throughout the summer. And Coach Anderson and Coach Messingham are going to give me the tools, they're going to give me the film and everything that I need to be able to do that. And I'm just so excited to get back up there and go have a great season.
Well, Deuce, obviously, I'm so proud of you. I thank you for the time. I really think the nuggets you dropped in this interview are going to be so helpful to a lot of student athletes who are going to watch us down the road. Thank you for giving back. I'm excited about your future. If you need anything, give me a call, and I'll definitely come by, and I'll definitely want to see you before you head back up to Manhattan, man. Thanks for your time, and I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
All right, no problem. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, bye.